Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Muhammad Atif and this is the summary of today's lesson. Today we started a unit 3 lesson 2, page number 38, and the topic of today's lesson was our carbon footprint. I am going to include the lesson objectives of today's lesson. These are the lesson objectives on your screen right now. First, speaking, talk about energy and the carbon footprint. Then, reading, read an information text, scan it, and answer the following questions. Then, critical thinking, we discussed our opinions about the carbon footprint and the language focus, which we will discuss in second part. And the grammar lesson is about subordinate clauses. So we discussed the first three learning objectives in today's class. So I'm going to include some of the vocabulary words that is important to understand before we start the lesson. What is a carbon footprint? So the carbon footprint is the amount of carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere as a result of the activities of a particular individual, organization, or community. We called it carbon footprint. Then emissions, the act of sending out, okay, for example, usually gas, heat, or light, etc. So these are the two important vocabulary words that I thought students might know before they start today's lesson. So after the discussion on vocabulary words, we started activity 1. Look at these pictures in the text. This is the opening question that I discussed with the class to have their attention. So what do you think they represent? So we discussed these three pictures. This one, globe, the footprint. This second one, the smoke from the factory chimney. And third one, the melting ice. So we discussed these pictures with the class, and they represented their own, you can say, point of view. Like they relate this black footprint and this smoke with the pollution, which is apparently right. And for this reason, they are some of the boys declared it as a, also as a smoke, and some call that the melting ice. So yes, some we discussed these pictures with the class just to have their attention. And after that, we discussed the opening question, one more opening question, that is, what do you think our carbon footprint is? So after the go through with the vocabulary word, some of the students got an idea what a carbon footprint is. So they discussed that the amount of carbon dioxide released by an individual is called carbon footprint. And then they discussed why we need to reduce the carbon footprint, because the carbon dioxide is causes harm to our health and also to our atmosphere, especially to the ozone layer, and it causes to increase the heat, the temperature of the earth, because with when the ozone layer damaged by the carbon dioxide, then the sun's heat is more vulnerable, and all the rays from the sunlight comes directly to the earth, and it causes also dangerous for the temperature, okay, and also for our human being skin, because there is a specific temperature that we can bear. And so they discuss these opening questions, and then after that we discuss the activity 2, which is read the text, and then discuss, and we checked our ideas, the discussion that we made on the opening questions. So then students read the lesson, and then they discussed the reason why we should control it, and what are the emissions, uh, and what is basically a carbon footprint. A carbon footprint is how much carbon dioxide one person makes each year, is called the carbon footprint. And then we discussed how we can reduce our carbon footprint, and what are the causes of carbon footprint increase. So after that, we discuss these true and false questions that I also going to discuss it with you. These are the answers of true and false questions on your screen right now, so you can also note it down. Then after that, we discuss the fourth question, which is just the general question, open-ended answers, like to check, to create awareness amongst the children, among the students, to control their carbon footprint. So do you walk to the school? So if we walk to the school, then it is better for us, because as we learned that the use of energy, and the use of technology, and the use of fuel causes the increase in carbon footprint and pollution. So it's better for us, if we can walk to the school, we should walk to the school. So like that, we just discussed this open-ended answer question, and the purpose of this questionnaire is to create awareness amongst the children, so they can take care of the energy, and they use the natural resources properly, so we can live a healthy life, and we can save our environment. So that's all for today's lesson. We will continue our grammar part in next summary video. So till then, take care, and Allah Hafiz.